Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Aqibatun lil mustaqim wala ahwana ila ala dalimin. Innani u'ti subhanahu wa ta'ala amtanani wa shukri. Wa Muhammadan huwa sayyidina makbubana wa inhu kana sayyidin mursaleen. Salawatu Allah ta'ala. Assalamu alayhi. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh lil ikwani wa wati fi din. Wassalamu ala mani teba huda lil ikwani wa wati fi Afrika, Europa, wa Asia, wa America, wa Caribbean, wa kulli makan. Halin salim bikum. Kayf halukukum ma'Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, I will continue on with the series of our intentions. And we are on a very critical point of intentions as far as the salat. We don't give much thought to the intentions in our salat. Most of us today, especially in the Western world, but in the Muslim world as well now, you just go through the motions. Okay, it's time to make salat, and you go to perform it. And you don't realize that there's a lot to it. And the salat is a great pillar, one of the great 5 pillars that we are obligated to adhere to. And with that said, we have many Muslims today that are troubled in this area. Not only in the Western world, but in the Muslim world, believe me. I've been to a few Muslim countries, North Africa in particular, and I'm telling you now, the salat is a troublesome pillar among here, in North Africa. It's troublesome, and we have people doing all kinds of things, and we have people who their niyyah is wrong. And so I'm going to talk about some issues again. One thing you hear me stressing continuously is we as Muslims should return back to the basic fundamentals of our religion. When you do that, you'll find the religion to be much simpler than you thought. When we have been taken away from the fundamentals, now we're involved in many different aspects. Some of the stuff is bid'ah, innovations, and it's designed by the devil in particular to keep you away from these fundamentals. And when you ask many Muslims today about the salat, they can't give you direct answers. Again, this is why the confusion. Here, I'm talking about basically the fundamentals to prepare you, to help you. Because the greatest enemy to your salat is shaitan, the devil. And the second is our nafs, what's inside of our heart. These 2 elements are the greatest threat to our salat, and also having this salat approved by subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is an important factor for the Muslim, because the Muslim who does not give much attention to his salat is not a very good Muslim. Is not a very good Muslim. As you always hear me say, and you hear all the scholars of every age talk about, the Muslim is geared, his day is geared around the times of salat and his worship, not the dunya. We know this is part of it because we have to live, we have to make a living, especially in the Western world, and so forth and so on. We have to put time in that. There's no doubt about that. But the salat, even in the dunya, you must take that precaution. One of the things that I love, with all the modern technology today, is like the Adhan watch. I have a watch, and I have many Adhans inside my house. And I have my Adhan watch, and my watch is designed, again, it gives me the times of the salat. It tells me how, I've got it programmed where it gives me, how many minutes before the salat, and so forth and so on. And so you can have a small beep, like for door, I got beeping 4 times to alert me, just in case something's going on. It happens. I get beeped 4 times to tell me, hey, it's time for salat. And so this is what I'm talking about, this watch here from Al Fajr. And this is a valuable tool for me. And it's like where other people say, hey, they have rings. I don't like rings and jewelry and stuff like that, but watches I do like. But this watch is the most valuable watch I've ever had. And so this is how important the salat should be to every Muslim. And we'll go from there. My brothers and sisters, we're in a troubled state. And when I go to the masjid, I see things that are very perplexing. I'm serious, very perplexing. And nowadays, we don't have the apparatus in place to help the Muslims to be better Muslims, especially in their salat, because of the hold that the disbelieving governments have over the governments, especially in Africa. You always hear me say it's ungodly, and they have made a big dent in our religion, and it's sad that it has to be this way. So we'll start here, and we'll talk about the salat, and I'm going to do this in 2 segments because the salat is so important, brothers and sisters. We have to master this salat because this is the only avenue, not the only avenue, but this is the best avenue where we can actually go directly to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and we should be prepared in our actions to go before Him, and this is one of the vehicles to do it. And He gave us this salat. He gave us this so that way we have this direct avenue. The other religions don't look at it this way. See, because they fall by the wayside, they have changed their religion around. The Christians and the and the Jews, and so forth, they have changed their religion. So they've lost many aspects. But we are the last and final of our prophet, who was the last final messenger and prophet. So we have an advantage, and we should take advantage of that, and we're not doing it. So we'll get started here. The problem that we face, and this has been faced for many generations, hundreds of years. The khalaqa ulama fi kulli zaman ala salat. يفعلها مسلم في سبيل الله تعالى مع إخلاص وصدقة. Here we're talking about the concern of scholars at all times is prayer. The prayer, brothers and sisters, is a vehicle to get you to the hereafter with Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's permission. This is an avenue that will get you where you want to go. There's so many health benefits in it. There's spiritual benefits for it. It's a cleanser. It does so many things when you perform it right. The Muslim do it for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. It comes with sincerity and honesty. We've been on this for a couple of weeks now. The Muslim intentions have to incorporate sincerity and honesty in it. We cannot do anything else. Now, what is concealed in the heart, me, you, or anyone else, we do not know what our brother Muhammad over here, or our sister here, Zainab, or we do not know what's in their heart. We can only go by their actions. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala judges that. So we must take direct action about our salat and to clean it up. And this intention, it can't be understated, because the intention has to be sincere and honest, and it has to be right and according to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So that's how we have to look at it. So we see here the problems arise on where the salat is to take place. This is a problem. I'm going to tell you why. In a Muslim world, we don't have this problem. But in the Western world, you do have this problem, because you have few in between masjid. Those who live close to masjid, they're okay. But how about the brothers who have to travel 20 kilometers or 25 kilometers or 30 kilometers? In the Western world, I had to travel almost 30 kilometers, nearly 50 miles or so, just to go to the masjid. And it was grueling, because especially during the summer months, and you know how the traffic was in LA, it's a grueling affair. This is a avenue that we have to tackle. The where the place is. Since we don't have the masjid, then we pray in the workplace, or we have to go to the park and pray. Some of us go on the street to pray. There's so many other things. Abandoning the salat in public or in places due to fear of people. This constitutes a display. I'll get into that. Doing it in places to get recognition. Brothers and sisters, now we get into the heart of what it is about our salat, especially in the Western world. When we have situations where, and I understand, I lived in the United States, where the brothers, they need to pray, but they're so fearful of what's out there because the hostility of the public, the police may come. There's a lot. There's in some places in the United States now they're more acceptance of this, but still majority of places are not really accepting of this. There's no masjid. You can't pray inside your office, so you go outside and you try to find you a place, and then you begin to make prayer, and then you abandon that prayer because when you look over to your right, you see people staring at you. And some make me making hand gestures, you know I'm talking about, to you in order to distract you from your salat. So you get fearful and you mess up your prayer or you abandon it altogether. The scholars have said this constitutes a display. It messes up your reward in your salat. And doing it in places to get recognition. The other avenue of this is, again, especially in the Western world. You go outside. Now, shaitan has entered in your heart. You made your wudu. And your niyah is correct. You want to perform the salat. But then shaitan begins to go into your heart. And then you say, you know what? Today, I think I'm going to go near Starbucks, coffee place. And I'm going to do my salat because I want the people to see me. You've just been guilty of display. And that salat is in jeopardy of being accepted, brothers and sisters. So I'm giving you these things so you can clean it up. And we'll get more into this because this is important, brothers and sisters. Just because you go and venture outside, what is the reason why you're going outside to make the salat? You have to ask the question of that. What is that reason? And so you go outside there. What happens when people decide to walk by you? Remember here 3 weeks ago, I think, or maybe a month ago, I showed you what has been happening now in the Western world in particular. Tubab women are walking in front of the brothers while they pray, lifting up their dresses. Some even half undressed into their, they're almost like she-devils. And they undress in front of the brother to stop him from his prayer. So you have to ask, okay, I'm going to go out to make prayer. What is the reason why you're going to do that? You have to ask yourself that. And you're going to say, I want to fulfill my obligations of making prayer because it's time for Salat al-Dohr, which is lunchtime, and I want to do it. You have to keep that niyyah strong, brothers and sisters. I would advise the sisters to stay away from this business of praying outside. You have special requirements that the brothers don't have. And we understand those things. We're all adults here. You have special requirements. And a woman has, especially when a woman's out in the public, and she's some of our prettiest and youngest sisters, they're going to attract the wrong people. And there's going to be, and she is in jeopardy of having her salat because she has to bend over. You understand what I mean? To do things that people and brothers start going behind her so they can look at her. I advise the sisters to stay away from public salat because for those factors. And how can you concentrate when you see men are standing there trying to look at you and you know what I'm talking about? So doing it in places to get recognition is a problem. And we have to be very mindful of that. If we're going to go to Starbucks, in front of Starbucks to do this, we're going to attract attention, yes, and recognition. But which recognition are we going to attract? And how about our salat? It's going to be jeopardized. We're going to be more prone to mistakes because now the niyyah has changed from fi sabilillah to selfish, into arrogance. and self-indulgence, saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to get recognition. These people know I work over here at this business here. They see me out here. It's a lot. People are going to praise me for it. We have this happening in the Western world in particular, and it's troublesome. And when you do that, the scholars have said that this is known as display, and display is a nullifier, meaning that your slot most likely may not be accepted. Now, performing in such places that arrogance sets into the Nia, as I told you. Prior to the salat, the Nia was sincere and truthful, and the truthfulness of it is true. You had that Nia, but then suddenly you said, you know what? I think I'm going to go to Starbucks, and I'm going to pray out there in front of the place. When that transpired, then it switched over into, like we were talking about, arrogance and the display. And it's troublesome, brothers and sisters, very troublesome. Prior to the salat, the Nia was with sincerity and truthfulness. This, you had it. Again, this is a split intention. And when you have a split intention, we go with the side of saying that something is rejected, because you cannot have the split intention. You cannot have this. We'll get further more into this, but this is what happened. The brothers made their wudu inside the office. They get prepared. They know it's time. Some of the brothers said, look, I got a damn watch here. It's time now for us to make the salat. So you say, okay. And then as you exit your business, then you go say, hey, you know what? Starbucks is about 2 blocks down. Let's go over there and do this. And you do it. The brothers' niyas changed. And this is what we talk about here. It's now the sincerity and truthfulness vis-a-vis Allah Ta'ala is gone. So be mindful of that, brothers and sisters. Third, the arrogance sets in at the beginning of the salat. Some have already had the arrogance set in because they have already made the determination that they're going to do something to get recognition. They're going to do something to show display. They're going to display themselves. So arrogance is already set in during the recitation of the surah, lengthiness and to impress the public and people. Now, here, this affects the Muslim world as well, big time, big time. We have arrogance setting in at the beginning of the salat. Here, in Morocco, you see brothers on the street who miss because the masjids close up, and the brothers have no other place to go, so they go on the street. Nobody pays attention here because it's a Muslim country. This is a normal situation. You see brothers on the street who are making the salat, or you see the taxi, the cab. They have maybe clients and they can't go to the masjid to pray, so they go and they'll pull over on the street and they'll pray just about anywhere you want. Nobody pays attention to that, and arrogance is not setting in because it's so normal. But in the Western world, it makes a big deal because it's a hostile place towards Muslims. This is why the niyyah has to be correct. But in the Muslim world, this here is where we have a big problem, brothers and sisters. The arrogance sets in the beginning of the salat. One of the examples is a brother who will do things to create attention upon himself. Okay? And then we got the imams. And the imams want the recognition themselves. So again, they have this split intention. Yes, they make performance of the prayer, but the arrogance of it sets in. So what they want to do, they go and they begin to recite a surah that's very, very long. And they do this to impress the worshipers in the masjid, so they can get recognitions to show that they are strong and they're hafiz in the Quran, meaning they have memorized the Quran. So they do very elongated surahs to impress there's a word in Arabic for it, but I won't use that here, to impress their worshipers inside the masjid. This is a problem everywhere you go today in the Muslim world. Everywhere is affected by this in particular. And I've seen this many times, and it's very troublesome. And again, when you have this kind of problem here, you have this split intention. You have one hand, it was sincere, and maybe the truthfulness was beginning. But then the imam just comes out, and then he decides at this point, shaitan goes into his heart, and then he said, you know what? I got some people here that I know. I want to show them how much I know the Quran. So they begin to recite real long surahs. Now, is there a problem to that? There's a lot of issues of fiqh. I won't talk about that right now. It's not the place for that. But the problem is this. You decided at this time to make the recitation in order to impress the people. This is the problem. Because now you come in, get ready to make the salat. You turn to look at the people. All of a sudden, you see some dignitaries in the back. People you know, or some well-noted individuals. And you say, we got these people. Oh, I know who these guys are. This is this guy here. Okay, yes, he's from the city council here in Fez or something. And so they go to show off. Split intention, brothers and sisters, gets you in trouble for that. And it knocks out your prayer. The advertisement of the salat, especially in non-Muslim lands or confines, to entertain non-Muslims. Hear that. To entertain non-Muslims. This is a problem about the salat in the West. I saw this one time in LA. I was trapped in traffic, and I saw these brothers. I was trying to get to the masjid. I didn't know if I could make it in time, and I felt I was not going to be able to make it in time. I saw these brothers out here, praying. And I saw the way they were acting. They were acting in a sense that you could tell they were trying to entertain the people, because people were driving by, people were stopping, people were honking horns at them, people were waving, and the brothers were looking at them during the salat, watching them, giving them acknowledgement with their head while people were waving at them. So they were entertaining the non-Muslims. The Muslims' original intention, fi sabilillah, ta'ala, was abandoned because they entered the salat wanting to please subhanahu wa ta'ala and to fulfill their obligations. But then they split the intention by adding entertainment to it, by saying, hey, you know what? Oh, look, I'm going to do something special in my salat. And then as the people go by, you begin to acknowledge that they're looking at you. And you begin to acknowledge that. This is a big problem. And we have to correct this, brothers and sisters. We must correct this. Okay, now, the one who does an action, an intention, fi sabilillah ta'ala, and the one who does it for the people, this is rejected. The Muslim serves two masters. The scholars are very clear and adamant, brothers and sisters, about this particular issue. When you're doing it to please subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're also adding the split intention of the people, it's rejected. The action, the intention, and the salat is rejected. Maybe I'm in the salat prayer line. I don't know what's going on with our imam. Well, I don't know what's going on with a couple of people up in front of me. I have no way of knowing. But maybe they are guilty of this. I have no way of knowing who is guilty, may be guilty of this. But this is a problem, because the one who does an action, an intention, fi sabilillah ta'ala, which is true, he's walking to the masjid, he's coming to the masjid, fi sabilillah. He's ready, he's got the truthfulness and sincerity about going to the salat. He's even making his dhikr. But then something sets into him that he wants to do it for the people, meaning he wants to show that he's going to the masjid, show everybody he goes to the masjid. He wants to show everybody that he's a strong, devout Muslim. So he begins to do things in order to attract attention to him. This is a problem. We have to be very, very careful. And this now is the Muslim who serves two masters. You have subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you're serving the people. You can't. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is a jealous God. Ilah. He does not want anybody associating anything with him. And you just associated the people with him. They're not on his level. You cannot do that. The salat is specially designed for you and subhanahu wa ta'ala, your ilah. Not designed for you and subhanahu wa ta'ala and you and the people. No, it is not. It's designed for you and subhanahu wa ta'ala. You to perform it correctly as our prophet said to do. You pray as I pray. You do this, you're on your way. But today we have Muslims everywhere serving two masters. They're serving the people to impress the people, and then they're also doing it to fulfill their obligations vis-a-vis Allah Ta'ala. It's rejected. All the scholars, every madhab has said the same thing. It's rejected. 7. Example, this is one who is the imam, as I said, leads the prayer. He performs the prayer as a worshiper. True, he does all this. He leads the prayer, and we see this today with some of our imams, because now we have many imams that should not even be imams. They should not be. They don't have the training. They don't have the devoutness. And what has happened is the enemies of Islam have found a way to attack the masjids by having all of the rightful imams removed. And then they go and orchestrate to put their types of imams in there. Ones who will spy, those who will do things, make bid'ah inside the masjid. This is what the enemies of Islam are doing, the Tubab governments. They've gone in and they paid money, and they'll even build schools to bring in, quote unquote, the new imam. And the imam is not even qualified to be an imam. And then inside the United States, because we don't have the luxury of having many masjids, brothers get together, rightfully so. And they say, okay, we're going to go over here and we're going to perform salat in this one building over here. And they're not qualified, but they have another choice. So they do the best they can. These brothers here, we don't fault them, because you have no imam. You guys live so far away from the masjid, you have no other choice. No one's faulting them. But we have other places where the people are not qualified to be imams. Imams is a special position held, in front of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. You have a special covenant with Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And you must perform this in order to bring the worshipers to the right Islam. But what is happening today, the disbelieving governments know that. So they go to push. They'll see people like me, they'll throw me out the masjid. They get this guy out. He's a terrorist. And they'll put somebody in that's not qualified to be imam. He can recite the Quran, yes. He can do the salat. But if you walk up to him and you ask him a question about some issues of fiqh, he can't answer that. You ask him some questions about the salat and so forth and so on, he can't answer that. He can't answer many different things about the Islamic Sharia. He cannot answer that. This is what is happening everywhere today. And it's shameful. They have no right to be imams, but they're installed as imam. Again, we're not talking about our brothers who are like, in Detroit or in Kansas City or something, where they're not living close to a masjid. So the brothers get together and they appoint a guy to be imam to do the salat al-Jumu'ah, say. We're not faulting them. They have no other choice. Someone has to. The best of them have to go to be the imam. Maybe one guy knows more of the Quran. This is the Sunnah. He knows more of the Quran, so he has to lead the prayer. He has to do the best he can. No one's faulting them, these guys. We're talking about those inside the masjid. This is where the problem is. And we have a lot of foolishness going on inside the masjids everywhere in the Muslim world, in the Ummah. We got imams that don't belong there. And this is a big, big problem that we have today. Big, big problem. And I saw that. Many of the imams, something's not right with them. You go and ask them a question, they can't answer it. They cannot, because they're not trained for that. They're only trained to do the salat, and that's it. They're not trained to answer the issues of fiqh. They don't want that. The enemies don't want that. They don't want like it was before. The imam was hafiz in the Quran, plus he knew the Sharia. He knew the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So you come in, or you and your wife come to the imam, and the wife says, look, I have a problem. I just finished my menses. How about this? And he can answer that. Today, they can't answer those questions. You see, brothers, why the salat is in danger, why we have problems today. That's why I'm tackling this now, to get you to think about this and to help to purify your salat and my salat as well. The lengthiness of the recitation in the prayer to impress the people. The root of the prayer is correct. He came in, yes, he came in with right intentions. to perform his prayer as the imam. But then I told you, he saw some dignitaries in the back. Maybe he saw another Sheikh Islam, or he saw a powerful, maybe ex-imam who's retired now. He's in the salat line. So you go to lengthen the recitation to impress those individuals. This happens. The prayer, the rule of prayer is correct, but the recitation is not. It's not that he messed up in recitation, no, but he added to it to impress. The scholars say that so the prayer is invalid. That's right. That's what they say. Because again, you have the split intentions, and the prayer is invalid. This is why I said, brothers and sisters, why we have to be very careful and mindful about our salat. You see these conditions I'm giving you, many of us are guilty of this, and we don't realize that, and we do it every day. We go through the motions. We don't realize that. We thought, well, so we make the prayer, and that's all. I don't care if I'm trying to impress the brothers over here, or I'm trying to impress these sisters over here. They don't care. They say, well, I'm making the salat, so everything's okay. Now you find out it's not okay, because the salat is not done with the intention, or it's done with split intention, where fi sabilillah, then that's the people. Or are you doing it because you see some dignitaries, and so you want to impress them? This is the problem. The proof of this is this particular surah here, 59, the verse is 23. And this gives the proof on why subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like it. When you begin to enter other factors into your salat and into your intentions, this hurts you. It hurts you big time. And so therefore, you cannot have, you can't have the right, I guess the right intention and the right, the sincerity and the truthfulness is gone. You cannot do it. It's finished. Here gives you the indication. So you review this at your leisure, and you look at this and look at the tafsir of it. It's very pointed, and it's very, very pointed to us, and it's very correct. And so we look at this further. The Muslim performs the salat fi sabilillah ta'ala and for the people. The second part of the second part for the people, this negates his prayer. I've said it again. You go in with the right intention. You make your wudu. Everything is good, 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 good. But then suddenly, you know, you come to the masjid and you thought it was going to be 10 people. Suddenly there's 50, 60 people who want to pray under you. So you go to impress them, and you add more to the recitation. Or you do certain things to impress them. This negates the prayer. So we have to be very careful, brothers and sisters. So I'm giving you this today for food of thought, for those who will see this in the future, for food of thought to help you. Okay. So the prayer and action of it was done with split intentions. This is what I was talking about, which invalidates his prayer. These split intentions, brothers and sisters, will invalidate your niyah, period. When it has to do with some other factor that's not dealing with subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not done with the the correct ibadah. It will invalidate your prayer. And we're human beings. Like I give example, you have problems inside the house with finances, but now you know it's time to pray salat al-maghrib. You have a lot of problems. You and your wife are discussing the problems. It got heated, and you decided, okay, I got to go to the masjid here. Maybe you live close to the masjid. It's not too far away. You can walk, or you can take a vehicle, and you decide, okay, I'm going to go to the masjid for salat al-maghrib. But on your way, and even inside the masjid, you're worried because you and your wife argued about the bills and about the money, how you're going to pay for something. And so you go into the masjid, your heart is heavy because of the dunya of the problem inside the house. So you enter the prayer. You have to be very careful. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is all forgiving. He understands those pressures. But we have to do our best to ward that off, bring the dunya, bring it and keep it outside of the masjid. Keep it outside your prayer. If you're inside your house making your prayer, keep it outside of the prayer. Do the best you can, keeping your niyyah fi sabilillah ta'ala, and keeping your prayer with sincerity and so forth. After the prayer, then worry about the dunya. worry about how you're going to do things. But these 5 to 10 minutes that you do for the prayer, you try to focus the best way you can on subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a perfect time. I have a problem. I don't know where I'm going to get the funds to finance this, or I don't know how I'm going to do this to feed my family the next day. You do all this in your prayer. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is so forgiving. And he will answer his badi, fi Allah ta'ala. I mean, in his time, bi'ifnillah. He will answer. It may not be today. It may be a year from now. He may not, he will answer you. And this is why important, brothers and sisters, that you keep your intentions valid. You keep your intentions sincere and truthful. You keep your bay'ah, okay, with the Prophet and with subhanahu wa ta'ala. You bay'una. You keep this. You know, those who made pledge. That's what I said. Remember, I've been using this word lately. It's in the Quran, quite a few places. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about when the Muslims made bay'una towards with subhanahu wa ta'ala and with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So you keep that going. You keep your pledge with subhanahu wa ta'ala the best way you can, even in the troubled area, like a troubled place like the United States, which is hostile towards Islam. You do your best, brothers and sisters. And I'm hoping that in time, like say, we see things like this, and I'm just giving you food of thought, because we all need to be educated, re-educated. As I told you before, there's something that came on here. I saw it the other day, and I forgot all about it. I was glad the brother brought it up on Facebook. I looked at it again to get refreshed on that education. We got to have that. You need this, and you take this for what it's worth, and you use it because it gets you to think. And the prayer is a troublesome area for all of us. It's a troublesome area because Shaitan is after it, and our enemies, Islam, is after it as well. And then we have the hypocrites inside the religion as well who are after it. So you're doing something, and you are performing something that is disliked by our enemies, and they're going to do everything they can to trip you up. So this is why we have to keep this salat as pure as we possibly can. Okay, do this, and hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, this will help you, my brothers and sisters. And I will continue on this at another time, inshallah ta'ala, about the second part of the intentions in the salat, because it's very, 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 very troublesome area. And our intentions for the salat is very, very weak. And we're not even paying attention to it. We just say, hey, I made a prayer, it's accepted. We don't think about the other things that go to it. And this is the problem we're talking about. And I gave you some of these areas that is problem for us. And I'm hoping that this did help you today and give you some food of thought. And again, my brothers and sisters, I appreciate those who regularly support me and who view my films. And I'm happy and gracious, and I have gratitude towards you for doing this. And brothers and sisters, if you like the content, subscribe. Hit that like button as well. Subscribe, and it's greatly appreciated. And spread the tape. If you like the content of it, I appreciate that. So, with that said, brothers and sisters, everybody, we have what we like. And there's certain people I like to watch, and there's people, friends of mine, that they don't like certain people to look at. I do like them, you see? So we all have our likes and dislikes and people who we like to follow. And this is normal, this is healthy, no problem, because we get different points of view and things. So with that said, brothers and sisters, I will see you, inshallah ta'ala, and we'll continue on this part about the intention and the salat, because it's so important. So I'll leave you, brothers and sisters, with the beautiful words of Jannah. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.